Hey guys, this is Rosa Kelly. Welcome back to the video class. So on this video, we are going to be working on the floating pages to add to our book. And I'm going to start with one piece. This is going to be also heavyweight cardstock. And we're going to cut this at 8 3/4. And we're going to keep this at 8.5. And we're going to score along the 8.5 inches. We're gonna score at 3/4 inches, and then we're going to score at 1.25. Okay, so 3.25 and 1.25. And then we're going to fold along the score lines, and this is going to be the side that is going to be glued to the side spine. And now we're going to work on top of that. So we are going to continue with the heavyweight, and I'm going to cut a piece here. This is going to be also 8 3/4, and we're gonna do this by 7.5 and score along the 7.5 at 1/2 inch. Okay, so we're gonna score on 1/2 inch here, fold along the score lines, and we are going to glue this piece on the right side of the page. And so we're going to add some glue. Okay, so let's add the glue here, and we're just gonna add these to the sides like that. Okay, and then we're going to fold and press down. So we're gonna have this first side opening page. I think I glued this a little bit crooked, so let me see if I can fix that. There we go. Okay, then we're going to cut 3 pieces, and these are just gonna be from our scraps. So we're gonna cut this at 2.5 by 5, and we're going to need 3 of those. So 2.5 by 5, and this is a little bit smaller than 2.5, maybe about 2, and what is that? I'm very bad with my measurements today, so 3/8 maybe. But basically you want 3 pieces that are about 2 inches and by 5. Okay, so then we are going to score along the 5 inches. We're going to score at 1/2, then at 2.5, and at 4.5. Okay, and we're gonna do the same. So 1/2, 2.5, and 4.5, and then 1/2, 2.5, and 4.5. And then we're just gonna fold along the score lines here. Okay, fold and fold, and then one more time here. We're just gonna fold the 3 pieces here, and we're gonna bring back our page. Let's see here, and open this up, and then we are going to be gluing this first piece right at the center. So you want this bending line to be lined up with the bending line of the connector piece here, but first we're just going to glue one of the sides on the bottom of the page. Okay, so we're just gonna glue this, and I'm gonna be about 1 inch away from this bending line where I start gluing this piece. Okay, so from here to here there's 1 inch, so I'm going to add the glue, and we're gonna place that right there. Okay, so 1 inch away from the bending line, and then center on the top and bottom. Then we're gonna fold this in half and add glue on the 1/2 inch section here. Keep that flat, and then close the page. and press down. And then so now we're gonna have that little 3D pop-up here. And on top of this, we are going to be adding the other two. So now we're gonna glue this 1/2 inch along the top of that. Okay, so we're gonna place that along the top, just like that. Okay, and then we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna fold this in half and then add glue to the 1/2 inch here, and we're gonna close the whole page. Okay, and then just press down and then open this up, and you're gonna have that looking like this. We're gonna give this another minute to dry, another second here. Okay, and now we're gonna do the same facing the other way. So we're gonna add this piece to that center, but now we're gonna go on the other side. Okay, so we're just gonna add the glue and go from that center bending line to the other side. We're just gonna add this piece, and then we're gonna just press down, fold this in half, and add glue. Okay, so we're gonna fold it in half, add glue to the 1/2 inch, and then we're gonna close the whole page and press down. Okay, so now we're just gonna give this a minute here to dry, and then we're gonna open that up, and you're gonna have that platform, right? And then we're gonna be adding layout here on top. So now we are going to cut one piece at 6.5 by 6.25, and two pieces at 6.25 by 3.5. Okay, so that's gonna be one. I'm gonna use some scraps here. So 6.25 by 3.5. And we are going to score. So the first piece, we're gonna score along the 6.5 at 3.25. Okay, and we're just gonna fold along the score line, and then we're gonna score the two other ones along the 3.5 at 1/2 inch and at 1/2 inch here. And then we're going to fold here again and fold here again. And then we're gonna open this up and add these two pieces here. So one on each side. Let's add the glue. And we're gonna add these here. So press down, and then we're going to add this other one right here. Okay, and press down. Okay, and then so these two are gonna open up like this. I do want to put magnets on this layout, so I'm just gonna grab my magnets, and so we're just gonna put one on each side here. So let me add my tape. Okay, and then so we're just gonna put these and close this up. And then same thing over here. So let's got the tape, and I'm gonna put this one a little bit lower so it's not kind of on the same place where the other magnet is. So we're just gonna put that right here. Okay, so there we go. And now these two are gonna open up like that, and this whole thing is going to go on the inside. So we're gonna close, and then we're gonna fold this in half, and then this is going to go right on the center of this page here. Okay, so we are going to add the glue on these two sides on the top. Okay, so we're just gonna go like that, and then we're gonna fold this in half and just place these right at the center, and we're gonna close this whole thing and then just press down. And I am gonna give this a minute to dry. Okay, so press. There we go. And then we're gonna open this up, and you're gonna have that kind of elevated page here, and then these are going to both open up like that. So I'm thinking for this will be really fun if you have like a long landscape picture, you know, one of those what do you call them, it's not it has a name on your phone, so you can kind of capture a picture like this and just come out with a long piece here, or you can get an 8x10 and just cut it. But it would be really nice to kind of put that in sections here as one long picture. But anyway, that was my idea for that. So now we're gonna add some paper, and I'm going to be using paper from the 6x6 here, and I think I'm just gonna add one of the pretty backgrounds, but we're gonna cut it in two. So first we want this to be about 5 3/4. Let's see, actually, okay, so we're gonna cut this at 2 3/4. Okay, and then the second one here also at 2 3/4. Okay, so that's easier to do. And then we're gonna glue these two here, so you get the whole image. It's just kind of cut in the center a little bit, and I'm gonna keep these corners square here. I'm not gonna round the corners for this one, so that's just gonna go there. Okay, and then we're gonna add this one right here. Okay, so now we're just gonna press down and press down. Look how pretty, I love it. Okay, so we're gonna close and press down here, and then you're gonna open this up and have that fun layout. Okay, so now I'm gonna close these, and then for this side here I'm going to be using this page, and so we're going to cut these in, we're gonna have to cut the image. So this is going to be 6 3/4 right here, by 8 1/2. So I'm thinking just like that, maybe higher, a little bit higher. Okay, somewhere over here. I don't want to cut the little kitty, so there we go. Okay, so 8 1/2, and then this is going to go over on this side, and I do want to round these corners here, so we're just gonna add this piece, and we are going to glue this down. Okay, and place this piece down here. Okay, so press. And there we go. And there you go. So cute, I love it. And now we're gonna work on the back. So I think for the back I am going to use my leftover piece here. So I'm going to cut this piece at 6 inches by 8 3/4, and we're going to score at 1/2 inch along the 6-inch side. Okay, and then we're going to fold along this score line, and we are going to glue this piece right here on the left side. So let's add the glue, line this up, and press down. Okay, and then I'm going to cut this at 8 1/2, so this is 5 1/4, and so I'm just gonna go right over here. Okay, starting where the puppy starts, and then we're gonna count 8 1/2, and that is going to go on this flap. Okay, so let's round the corners here. Okay, and oops. Okay, and now we're just going to glue this piece. Okay, so we're gonna put that right there and press down. So then I'm going to cut 2 pieces at 6 3/4 by 4 1/4. Okay, so let's do this one here too, and we're going to score these 2 pieces at 1/2 inch along the 6 3/4. So we're just gonna do 1/2 inch and 1/2 inch here, and we're going to fold along the score lines. Then I'm going to cut 2 other pieces, and these are going to be about 2 1/2. Okay, well, let's do 2 3/4 by 7 1/4. Okay, and we're gonna do 2. So let me find another little piece here from my scraps. So 7 1/4 by 2 3/4, and we're going to score along the 2 3/4. We're going to score at 1/2 inch, and along the 7 1/4 we're going to score at 1/2, and at 6 3/4. Okay, and we're gonna do the same for both, and 1/2 inch here, and then we are going to cut the corners. Okay, and we're gonna make these 2 pockets. Okay, so I'm just gonna cut and fold along the score lines. Okay, so we're gonna fold. Okay, so we're gonna do the same with this one, just fold along the score lines right here, and we're gonna glue these pockets on these pieces here. So make sure that the score line is on the right side, and I'm just gonna go ahead and glue these down. Okay, so let me make sure I'm in camera here. So I'm just gonna add the glue, and we're gonna place one right here. So remember to have the hinge on the right, and then we're just gonna put this right there and press down. Okay, and then same thing for the other one. Okay, so hinge on the right, and then we're going to glue these pocket. Okay, and I'm just gonna put that right here like that and press down. Okay, now these two pieces are going to go on the right side here, so we're gonna open this up and add the two pieces on the right side. So let's add the glue, and I'm going to put this one right there. Okay, so just press down. I know it's a little bulky on the back, and then we're going to add the other one. Okay, so right there. Okay, so again, just press down, and then I'm gonna open that up and press down and open that up and press down. Okay, so now we have these two pieces here that you can put a 4x6, but also you can put some photo mats in there. So first, let's just go ahead and add the paper. So I'm gonna use paper from the 6x6, and so let's see here. So I want to use the flowers. Okay, so we're gonna use the flowers, and then maybe this other background here as well. So first we're gonna cut these at 2. Okay, so these are gonna be 2x6, and then we are going to cut this one. I'm just gonna cut it at 3. Okay, so 3x6, and so we are going to add these on top of the pockets. Okay, so we're just gonna add the glue, and we're gonna place this right there, and then we're going to glue this other piece here, and there you go. And then we're just gonna add this other piece inside the pocket here. Okay, so we're just gonna put that right here. There's one, and then same thing here. Okay, so we're just gonna put that right there. Okay, and press down. And there you go. So now we have our two pockets, and I like how we can see the layers here on the side. Now for inside the pockets, you are going to just put a photo mat that's going to be maybe 4x6, or maybe you can do 8x6. So let me cut this at 8 right here by 6, and then we're going to score along the 8 inches. We're gonna score at 4. Okay, so that way we have a little photo booklet, and this is gonna go inside your pocket. So it's gonna go right in there, so it fits perfect. And then you can add 4x6 pictures on each one of these. Okay, so that's gonna be one. Of course, you can add your design paper in there, and I'm just gonna do one more so I have both of those ready. So again, 6x8, and score at 4 inches along the 8-inch side. and then we're just going to fold, and then this is going to go right over here. Okay, so those are gonna go right there. Now to these ones, I will probably just add, I'm gonna cover the front with paper, but I'm gonna leave the back just blank. Okay, so let's pick 2 sheets. I'm gonna pick these 2 here, and we are going to cut these at 3 3/4 by 5 3/4. So I'm gonna do 5 3/4, and then let's see how we want to cut these. I kind of want the animals, but I also want the craft room, so it's gonna be hard to cut. So 3 3/4, I'm just gonna cut it right here, and then same thing for this one, I guess. 3 3/4. Okay, so we have some of the image, and then we can glue this down. I do want to round the corner on this one, so where did I put my little piece? Oh, I don't know where to put it. Okay, I guess I will skip it for now. Okay, that's okay. We're just gonna glue this down. I don't know what happened to that. Okay, so we're just gonna glue, and okay, so we're gonna put this other one right here, and there you go. Press down, and now we're just gonna go back and add these on the pockets. So then we have 1 and 2. So pretty. So you can put it like that, or you can also place it if you want to show more of the design paper here. Let's add more glue on the corner. You can also just place it open like that, and that can go and show more of that design also. You can do it like that. So either way, that is going to be the first floating page, and I'm just gonna go ahead and open this up and add this to our book. So let's open all of these, and then this is going to go on the left side, and I'm going to glue these about, I want to say, 1/2 inch away from this first bending line is where I'm gonna glue the 3/4 inch. Okay, so we're gonna add glue here. Okay, and we're gonna place it about 1/2 inch away from the bending line, and make sure it's going straight. And then from the back, we're just going to press down. Okay, so press down. And there we go. So that's gonna be our little floating page, which is like a full page. And that's gonna open, and then you have these 2 openings. I'm not gonna do the inside paper yet, but I'm gonna leave that. And we are gonna be working on another floating page on the other side.